Pattdown is with us here today. How are you doing?
Doing good, man. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing great. Now, first of all, how would you describe the style of your music?
Uh, Early on, like a lot of the earlier projects I put out last year, I was really heavily focused and influenced by a lot of lo-fi,
Mm,
lo-fi hip hop, like really chill, smooth, almost melodramatic uh, type melodies and vibes.
yeah.
Uh, and then here recently, I've started getting more into boom bap, kind of 90s
Mm,
golden era type hip hop instrumentals and using a lot of samples and
yeah.
chopping a lot of samples.
Yeah. It's good to have that nostalgic feel to have music that's based on a previous era.
Absolutely, man. I mean, a lot of the stuff that I'm trying to that I'm trying to uh, put together nowadays is yeah, like you said, nostalgia. A lot of stuff that I really came up on.
Absolutely, yeah. And how did you first start to get into making music then?
Um, well, I started playing drums when I was 14. I had a group of guys that I grew up with, and we played in a lot of different bands. We were playing a lot of hardcore, deathcore, and metal music.
Wow.
So we play, like I said, we played in various bands together, like played live music, uh, toured up and down the East Coast over the course of those 4 or 5 years. And then after my last band that I was in with those guys that I grew up with, uh, I'd started one of my other good friends had introduced me to FL Studio, and so um, I think that was about 16. I think I was 16 or 17 years old is when I get introduced to FL Studio from my buddy. And then, so as I was playing in bands with my other friends, uh, I was slowly, every so often, trying to learn how to make beats like on my computer because he had made some like what was the name of that Owl City? You have
Oh,
that guy
like,
that was really popular like in the
yeah.
early 2000s.
Yeah.
He made like kind of like the poppy like electronic music. Like he my buddy who introduced me to the program was making music like that. And then there wasn't a whole lot of information on the internet about like, really making hip hop beats that I
Yeah.
could find. So I was trying to learn how to create hip hop music through that program over the course of, well, I'm 28, 29 right now. So, yeah, so over the course of maybe like 7, 8, 9, 10 years,
Wow.
like just stumbling through trying to figure out how to work FL Studio. And then, as pro- as time progressed, more information came out, and then I was able to, just put my time in and figure out what worked for me, and figured out the workflow that worked best for me.
Yeah, absolutely. And was it quite fun being in a band growing up?
Oh, dude, absolutely, man. I mean, this I feel like at least for me, like that, that was just like a great release for me because I was never really into like sports
Yeah.
or uh, you know, didn't the only other hobby I really had was skateboarding, and the same group of guys that I played in bands with, we skateboarded. So it's like, just one hand washed the other, just
Mm.
led right into the other thing. So it was kind of a smooth transition. But yeah, it was definitely fun, dude. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah. And did you have any family members that were quite musical at all?
Um, no, not that I know of. Uh, the only person that had anything to do with some type of music in my family was my uncle. So my dad's brother.
Mm.
He played in the drum line and marching band when he was in high school. And I think that was the only person that I know of uh, that really had anything to do with music.
Yeah. And did your family still encourage you and support you with your music nonetheless?
Oh, absolutely, 100%. Um, yeah, my parents helped me score my first drum set, and then uh, there's another family friend who loaned me an electronic drum set
Ooh.
when I was in the early stages of learning drums, and yeah, they stuck with me, the whole ride
Yeah.
until I started trying to get into more of audio production with FL Studio. And then I think it was a little bit better for them on their ears, not having to listen to live drums like every every 3 or 4 hours, like in the other room.
Yeah, absolutely. And who do you look up to in terms of famous musicians then?
Are you talking about recently or just in general?
Well, throughout your entire life, both recently and previously.
Um, I'm not too great with individual names for
Yeah.
people that that were really influential to me, like when I was younger, but I can definitely name some of the bands that influenced me. Some of the bands that influenced me were Under Oath, As I Lay Dying, Norma Jean,
Mm.
The Chariot. Uh, who else? The Devil Wears Prada. I remember when they were
Yeah.
really popular, and then as things kind of progressed and we got more into the hardcore scene, it was like Counterparts,
Yeah.
uh, and then some more heavier stuff like Kubla Khan.
Ooh.
Um, I think August Burns Red was somewhere in there too at some point. Um, but here more recently, like as I started to get more into instrumental hip hop and lo-fi music, uh, I remember the first time listening to Pete Rock,
Yeah.
the beat producer, and I was like, dude, like, how is this guy doing this? Like, you know what I mean? Like, how is he taking like this sample and making it something completely new?
Mm.
So Pete Rock is definitely a big influence. The Alchemist is a huge influence. Like he's got his own lane, man. He's got such a style about him that is just so unique and so cool that he's definitely been a big influence as well.
Yeah.
Jay Dilla, of course, one of the greats. Can't forget him.
Mm.
Um, yeah, so I think those are the three main ones that have uh, really put me on to continuing that path of learning how to uh,
Yeah.
work audio production and beat making.
Mm. I never realised that The Devil Wears Prada is a band. I always thought it was just a film, and that's it.
Oh no, yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, they were really popular back in, man, probably like 2005,
Wow.
maybe 2005, 2006. Yeah, it was in those earlier stages of like metalcore and hardcore, um, and what some people would refer to as screamo. Um, yeah, so yeah, it's definitely a movie too. Like,
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And how would you say you are unique compared to the artists that you mentioned?
um, man, that's a tough question. Uh, I don't know, man. Like, I think that for me, I feel like I have a different ear
Yeah.
for when I'm listening to a sample, because with websites like Splice, where you can download for royalty free samples,
Yeah.
um, over the past year, I've worked with samples and have heard the same samples in other beats that people have made online. And from hearing what they make and listening back to what I've made, it kind of shows me the different variations of how people can uh, really find what it is that they're looking for out of a sample. Um,
Mm.
so yeah, I don't think it,
Yeah.
yeah, like, I mean, I think, yeah, just I have a different ear.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say I'm any better or any less than, I'm just another guy making music.
Yeah. And how do you keep going when you don't necessarily have much inspiration? What helps you to keep making music even when you don't know what to make?
Oh man. Uh, I really like reading philosophy and psychology books.
Ooh.
Um, Either that or, I'll take some time off. I'll listen to some podcasts. Uh, One of my favorites so far is Jordan Peterson. Um, Man, that guy has gotten me through some tough times. Like when I feel like I just don't have like anything in me left. You know what I mean? Like no inspiration, no drive, no nothing. Um, so it's that, and then you know, going to the beach. Just getting outside a little bit. Um, just doing normal everyday things. Try
Yeah.
and take my mind off of whatever blockage I feel like I'm kind of facing, because I
Yeah.
think normally what it gets to is like, for me personally, when I feel like I don't have any inspiration, or I feel like I have quote unquote beat block, um, it's because I'm looking for a very specific sound,
Mm.
and the sound is so specific that like I just end up like mindlessly like listening to like different samples, but not like listening to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I'm just kind of like going through the motions, it's like I'm not putting any feel into it. I'm not actively listening to whatever it is that I'm looking for, and then everything just starts to blend together and sound the same.
Mm.
So yeah, I'll just take some time off and do some normal day things. Do some laundry, clean up.
Yeah.
Just try to find something to kind of take the stress off of myself and the pressure that I put on myself
Mm.
uh, to get past those types of blockages.
Yeah, it's a good way to do it. And in your
Yeah.
other spare time, what do you normally get up to?
Um. What you talk about, like hobbies
Yeah.
and uh, well, I guess if I could say sleeping, I'd say sleeping.
Oh yeah,
Sleeping
that's
is
one of my
it's def
favorites.
yeah, sleeping is definitely a hobby. Because I feel like I could never get enough of it, man.
Yeah.
Um, but honestly, not really a whole lot, man. I
Mm.
kind of just keep to myself and, spend time with my girlfriend and our dog, and um, just try to make space for some quality time
Yeah.
uh, outside of work and music. Uh, just kind of ease my mind.
Mm. Yeah. Well, do you have any future projects coming up that we can look forward to?
Yeah, I've got on the 25th, or no, not the 25th, the 29th of this month. I've got a single coming out with Chill Moon Music.
Ooh.
You guys can check that out on my Instagram page. I've got a link in my bio on my link tree for the
Right.
pre-save for that single. It's called Downtown.
Ooh.
It's a part of a beat tape that Chill Moon Music has put together with a lot of different artists on it.
Yeah.
Um, so we'll be releasing singles every day up until I can't remember what the last day is of the beat that they're going to be dropping for the actual beat tape. So they'll release them in singles, and then the very last day they'll release the entire beat tape. Um, so I got that coming out, and then I got some other things that I'm working on right now. Uh, I don't really have any. I don't really have any solid like names of anything right now.
Yeah.
Things are just still in the works. So other than that, just got that single coming out, but steadily trying to put some other stuff together just to keep everybody listening.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, in the meantime, where are we able to check out all your music?
You guys can check me out on Spotify. That's Pattdown, Pattdownn. Same thing with Apple Music, iTunes, uh, YouTube, pretty much all the major streaming platforms. You guys can check me out, and then follow me on Instagram. And I used to use Facebook, but Facebook's kind of dying out, so it's just Instagram and streaming services now.
Nice. Yeah. Well, thank you very much for coming on the show today. It's been great to have you on.
Yeah, man, absolutely. I appreciate the time.